What's up, guys? Koma here, and today we will be covering homestead building basics. Should be quick and simple. There is going to be a few things that's though kind of just worth mentioning in terms of just logic. So it's no surprise from my channel or people who have viewed my channel for a long time that I am a level designer. That's something I have a hobby in, and if I could, I would take it professionally. However, there are a lot of things not only stopping me, such as industry, um, but that also means I can pull this over into other games, such as Blue Protocol. And this game is basically, what you can do. There is an entire side building thing, so you can build stuff just like this, as long as you have the materials and time to do it. So I will say, if you're going to make a big build like this, typically most of the time it is going to be a collaborative effort between you and a few friends. So if you have a few friends that decide that you guys are bored with the main game, or you just don't have anything else to grind for, you can come over and start working on your homestead. I do plan on putting a video out about how to unlock the homestead and how to get started, but I think building is more of a priority here. So, since you kind of already see the homestead and I've done this intro, I'm going to go ahead and swap to an alt so we can start building so I can teach you guys the basics. Okay, so I am officially swapped over to my alt, and quickly before we build in, I want to cover a few bases about your limitations, and especially when you're just starting out. So, if you're building outside and you hit H, you'll notice that you'll have a giant grid. This is specifically just how far you can build outside your house. So unfortunately, if you're wanting to build outside in the beach, that is not something you can do, unfortunately. So you're limited to about here and, kind of where you spawned at over here. So if you're trying to build any further, I'm sorry, you can't really do that. Additionally, if you're trying to build inside and you think it's a little cramped inside, I would highly recommend doing some commissions and getting your Homestead Adventure rank upgrades, because there comes a upgrade for indoor expansion at level 3, which is a roof, so it makes it taller, so you can start a second floor, as well as your final expansion at level 6, which will expand it, I think, left and right, and it'll also give you an arch to the roof. So if you're building inside and you need more space, wait until level 6 so you get a little bit more room to play with. So anyway, we're gonna press H and we will start learning how to set stuff down. So when you're in here, you have a few options. I'm gonna cover these things up here first, but we're gonna go up in furniture, and you're going to mainly just look around for something simple that you can really just, throw down or something. For my sake, I am going to be throwing down this white wall. So these white walls are typically, okay, make sure to confirm it first. So click, drag, drop, confirm. So the white walls are pretty much like your go-to building block. Most people will use these things for walls, for pathways, for floors. And you can also kind of run along them if you have wall run and stuff enabled. So you can realistically do a ton with this. There's also a bunch of other different variants. More namely, brick is, I think, like the next best thing, as well as some bigger variants that are also wood. But when it comes down to, building onto this, so you can hit this copy button and you'll notice that it goes to the left side. But if we mess with these numbers and we flip it the other way around and copy it, you'll notice that it copies to the opposite side. This is because if you have your object rotated in a specific orientation, the issue is that it will only copy on this side. So if you're trying to manipulate something, or something just isn't really coming out right, you can, perhaps probably trying to manipulate the orientation a little bit to kind of help you get that correct angle that you are wanting. um but let's go ahead and talk about the things that are on the top left up over here. So we're going to reset this down to 0. So this will be kind of our baseline. So if we enable attach, you can then copy, and it'll copy to the left like normal. But if we kind of go around and we hold the object close to this other object, you'll notice it kind of sticks to it and almost like magnetizes to it. So you can get it like on the top, you can get it below it, stuff like that. Um, Keep in mind attachments, depending on how many objects you have around, can also just really bug out. It is not the most consistent. So if you are wanting to line something up or something of sorts, but you don't have attachment enabled, or you don't have the copy feature really working in your favor, you can go down here and you can click your tune button, and you can just ever so slightly nudge these objects into place like so. So you can see it's starting to line up. Now, it is also worth noting that this tune object is camera relative. So if I were to copy this and then I bring it over here, and you'll notice that it's kind of slightly not there. It's not fully lined up. If I angle my camera this way, you'll notice that it will almost nudge in the direction of my camera. This is because it's camera relative, so it's not too useful in some cases. So you really just got to play with it and be very finicky with it. So sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So going on to the next thing, let's go ahead and cover height here. So when you overlap objects, you'll sometimes notice, let me go ahead and recycle this, and we're going to go ahead and copy this again. So if you overlap objects, sometimes you'll notice that you'll have a glitchy texture. It's more noticeable on objects that are kind of flat on the ground like this. And then we're going to go ahead and copy it. And you'll notice that it's like almost like twitching. This is what we call mainly in the level design term as Z-fighting, as it is two textures fighting over another. There's multiple ways that you can fix this, such as nudging the object in one direction. And for this specific issue, we are just going to increase the height. So when you increase the height by 1, it's just barely visible on the seam between the two objects, but it will get the job done at the end of the day. Now, it is a different case if you are rotating an object like this and you are lining it up like that. It is just kind of the issue of the texture just being kind of wonky and being kind of one way, so do keep that in mind. You do have undo and redo, but sometimes these things have been bugging out, so I would be very careful playing with these. You have your lighting control. Inside, it's going to be slightly different. You're going to be able to control the atmospheric like lighting inside, but for the atmosphere outside, you have main city and you have planes, and then lighting control. Basically, you can force all lights off and all lights on, so it's really up to you what you want to do there. Let's go ahead and cover multi-selecting, as there's some cool features you can do with this. So you can click on multi and you have the multi-select, so I can select both blocks. There is a 10 block limit to this, so I would highly recommend being very careful with it whenever you're messing around with it. But you can select multiple objects and you can move them all in one way. Additionally, there is a box select, which the box select is not the greatest sometimes. I wouldn't really recommend using it. So as you can kind of see there, it did not work all the way. But you're going to have to completely cover the objects with their box select. But a cool thing about multi-select is you can select multiple objects, and then you can go down here and press this create button, and this will create a modular object. So we can do walls, for example. And you can also mess around with the slider here. There is nothing really too special about this slider on walls specifically. If you're doing like tables and chairs, it's more effective, but specifically on walls, it's not great. But now that we have a modular object, you can actually come up here in the placed area, and you can see all your walls here. And if you select them, you can actually, you're actually automatically sent straight to the modular object. Other than that, besides just being grouped together, there is not much else about the modular object. It's also worth noting that when you copy a modular object, it will originally copy from the original block that was started with the object. So it's very finicky. But if you really want to play with modular objects, then you could do something like so. So we're going to bring this up a little bit here. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of make a little box here. You'll notice that if you do copy an object, and then you start messing around with their values, you'll notice they reset to 0. It's just an overall bug they have yet to fix. I don't know if they will ever be getting around to fixing it. But we're going to go ahead and line these up like so. So you can see that I'm kind of eyeballing it whenever I'm lining up stuff, just ever so slightly. I'm not worrying about visual issues or anything like that. I'm trying to make sure that it's at least lined up. So I can then, actually, no, we can do the multi-select, and then we can copy, and then hopefully we can do something like that. I mean, it's close. It's actually bugging out a little bit. Sometimes if you duplicate an object, you'll notice it have one here, or it'll have this a random number. I would highly recommend just deleting the object and replacing it, because as you continue to duplicate it, sometimes it will throw off your building entirely. So let's continue here, and we will just go ahead and throw this here like so. There we go, and our final object here will go on top. So again, we're going to try and nudge it ever so slightly, like so. This object also needs to be nudged. So there we go. So you'll notice we have some glitchy textures to the corners here. Realistically, we don't want that. So we are going to select the sides here, and we're going to lower them. So you can do this as like kind of like just a visual thing. So maybe you just want it there to make it look good. Sometimes you want it there to, you know, maybe look a little different. It just gives it some just overall like shape and interesting stuff. So so you can do stuff like this with modular objects. So you can take your box, select everything, do, I don't know, little garden plot or something here. So you can duplicate this, and you can notice that it comes out just like your other ones. So you can set it down, you can duplicate it, you can adjust it as you wish, and you can tune it as you wish too. Just like that. Additionally, if you are in modular object select mode, so say you want to adjust something, you will have to remove it. But if you're in single select mode, for example, you can select the modular object and you can click edit. When you click edit, you can select an object and you can move it away, and then you can press OK, and then you'll notice that the object is no longer in the original location. So you can edit modular objects with single object selection. But again, that's really up to whatever you're actually building here. So as you can see, I've already redone it here. So I can go here and stick it there. I don't think this is not quite lined up here, I think. So, and that pretty much wraps everything up about building. But before we end everything, I do want to talk about kind of where you get furniture and where exactly, you know, you should be getting it from and stuff. I might have to swap over to my alt now that I think about it, so I will be right back. Okay, well, I said I was going to swap to my alt when in fact I was talking about my main, but I do want to talk about life skills, as life skills are the main way you're going to get furniture for your homestead. Primarily, you're going to want artisanry, which does a majority of the different furniture that you can acquire. Not only will this save you money in terms of homestead coins, especially when it comes down to chestnut panels and some of the staircases that will typically cost you thousands of homestead coins. The other thing you're wanting is gem crafting and primarily gemology, I believe. Yep. For limestone, gem crafting specifically allows you to make stone slabs, and if you click on stone slabs, they are used for the white walls. Alternatively, if you are an alchemist, you can also make fired brick, not fried brick, to make a red brick wall. So this is kind of your other sort of petition as well. So you can use whichever you want. there's a few other things that you could do here, such as weaving. Weaving gives you access to stuff like rugs, to baskets, to um, little minor things. If you have any sort of event stuff, you can also use the event-based items. But all in all, it's really up to you and what exactly life skills you have access to. Certain life skills will do different things, such as smelting, doing grid windows and benches, and more importantly, lights. Uh, uh, but they're kind of split into different things. So you'll have crafters, which is artisanry, gem crafting, smelting, weaving, and alchemy. And then you'll have collectors, such as mineralogy, gemology, and botany. So there is a lot you can do, and that overall just kind of wraps up everything that you can do in Homestead. Um, get creative with it. Do whatever you would really like to do. There is a ton you can do with Homestead. I'll probably throw up some examples here at this point to really show you what you can do with Homestead. It's really just your creativity at the end of the day. So you can go for functional, such as something you saw with my place at the very start. Or you can go like something visually compelling. So I think like Edda's. I should have shown it on screen. It's very detailed, but it's not really functional. But that's just kind of like how they build over there. So yeah, there's a lot you can do, and it's really just what you and whoever you're partied up with in the homestead to really just figure out what y'all vibe with and how you guys want to build. So your creativity is your limit. So feel free to do as you wish. And with that, I think that comes to an overall end of this video. There's not much else I can really talk about. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to throw it in the comments. I will try to answer as much as I physically can over however long period of time this video stays relevant. There might be changes in the future as well, so if there are changes, I will make an updated video. So if they update something with the building, that'll also include an updated video too. But with that said, I will talk to you guys in the next video. If you guys want to support the channel, you can always subscribe, ring the bell, like the video, share it to other people trying to learn how Homestead works. But adios, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.